Hey everyone, it's Kai from WCC, and Derek sent us some videos from his shop tournament this past weekend, so we get to go through some of those videos. We'll do some analysis of them, we'll do some commentary, or we'll just put them up. This video today we'll do an analysis, so we might be pausing sometimes on some important moments where I'll discuss a bit more. We have on the left, we have Bryan playing Genesis, and on the right we have Kane playing Granblue, and this is from Perth. Alright, and we've got the Premium Collection 2020 out already, but the Night Rose, the Night Rose set hasn't come out. So let's just get started. I will be pausing again at some points to talk about things, and yeah, so right off we have Genesis starting, and we'll stop right here, just talk about something really quickly. So Genesis has two big builds in Premium. We have the first one is like this Wisemanish build where you make one card that has like lots of crits, lots of power, and then you try and Soul Blast Tarus to stand it up in the battle phase. Try and get as many attacks with it as possible and try to just kill your opponent ASAP, right? The other build is the super meme Valkyrian stand build, where you try and check a stand trigger every time with Valkyrian or your Uranus attack. Basically any drive check, just stand your Valkyrian to keep on just attacking multiple times, try and kill your opponents. They run X stands on it. So when they G-assist here, it is important to find out what they're doing. If you see any stands that are not Taro, you already know that he is playing a meme build. So that's one thing to really be careful. The other thing is, yes, even in Premium, Genesis kind of plays weird ratios, so you can get kind of grade stuck a bit, just like in the normal standard build. So yeah, one thing to check, are they running stands or not? And then when you realize what they're doing, then you can formulate your game plan around that. So we can see Kane is looking through it, and I think it looks like he misses. So unfortunate for him. Kane rises Null Guard, the discard one, draw one, and he can formulate his game plan here. If he sees that his opponent is playing like a meme build, you can kind of put on the aggression, because the meme build doesn't run any defense. And we can see him discard a stand trigger to guard, and he's guarding for 1. It's pretty risky, pretty risky. G-assist again, and let's see what he gets. Will he get his, he gets his, I think this is Deputized Bear. It doesn't really have a Vanguard effect, doesn't really do much on Vanguard. Basically what this deck will be doing is he's going to be sandbagging until he rises to grade 3, and then he'll try and one-shot your opponent out of existence. His G-assisting, of course, does suck, but here, he should be able to, ride like a, well, he doesn't get, there's going to be some confusion here about something, the quick shield. Funnily enough, the Genesis player, even though he went first, he got Grey Suck, so he does get the quick shield into his hand, and, yes, it happens, it happens. He's just gonna swing in and deal 1 damage. He actually gets a heal. So from that we know that he's running heals and stands. And it's quite likely he's not running nulls, because then we have like a 12 stand 4 heal, unless he's running grade 1 nulls. But that adds to inconsistency in the deck. So a lot of these decks just don't run any defense at all. Sometimes they don't even run the heals, they just run 16 stands. With the heal though, at least it's like, I think it'll be the only like high guard value card. The rest of the cards in his deck will just be like 10k or less pretty much. So that's something that the Granblue player can really capitalize on if he can really push now and rush. Now he's using Tempest Sphere to get a heal trigger. I'm not sure how many vanilla triggers this guy's run. We've seen some Cutlass, so we've seen the Ghost Ship here, so it seems like he's running maybe not that many vanillas. He's just running, Tempest Sphere to unflip to get some Cyclones. I mean, his trigger lineup is just all vanillas, so if he wants to really play them down and get high damage. There is no rush appearing from the Granblue player though, which is kind of either he just doesn't have the hand for it, or he probably should. Unless he really wants the damage, but he could just die at grade 3. I guess he's like seen the Genesis hand, so he's thinking he's not going to die at grade 3. So he doesn't really need to commit here. But I think even after seeing the hand, if you know that your opponent is not ready for grade 3, I think you still commit. You just still commit a field, rush your opponent down, push him high, and then watch him die, right? Granblue does get the first grade 3 ride. It actually doesn't really matter in this matchup who gets first stride, because Genesis play just doesn't really care about striding at all. So you can just ride up and not care. He's thinking about what to ride. We see a Skull Drag in his hand. Maybe he doesn't have a good grade 3 ride at all. So, but even if, that's fine. Even if he has to ride the Skull Dragon, what you want to do is you want to make bodies on the board now and push, right? You probably should have pushed before, but you want to push now. If he's the Genesis player not riding Mutsuki kind of puts him back a bit as well, right? Riding Mutsuki on the grade 2 ride is very important to get that force markers. Either you ride the old Uranus to get like you need 5 force markers, otherwise you need the Gleaming Lord Uranus, but the Gleaming one doesn't, it requires 5 grades in Soul, so if you do 0, 1, 2, right, like that, you don't actually have enough. You need to play something that Souls in, like a 2 or a 3, or otherwise you can re-ride your grade 2, like you can re-ride grade 2, you can ride another Mutsuki to get that extra soul, but again, they'll be put in 1 turn behind, so that's not ideal. Funny interaction here, we have Granblue rides the Skull Dragon, he calls a Greed Shade. Greed Shade is able to get any card from the drop zone, so you can actually get a Tempest Sphere. So it's not a misplay. But one thing here is that if he develops a board, it gives either his opponent, the Genesis player Bryan, will either just try and kill him next turn with Valkyrian attacks, or he will just attack rearguards. And by using this Tempest Sphere, right, what does it actually accomplish? He's gotten a crit from his hand. The crit is essentially useless when he's going up against combo. The guard value doesn't matter, because you should be dying in that turn. So leaving the crit would be better. Tempest Sphere unflipping on the Cyclone, I don't think is that worth it. I'd rather keep the card unflipped. So maybe next turn, if he doesn't combo, it gives me a better turn to push with. It lets me get into, like, you know, big or bit eye. So here we're going to watch if Genesis player does have the combo or not. And I think he'll be doing some thinking. We see another stand trigger go away. And yeah, so basically I haven't seen anything else, really. I think we saw a Gleaming Uranus when he did his second, what you call it, G assist. So we know he has at least that grade 3. But that grade 3 himself is not very easy to accomplish what he wants, because it doesn't give any extra force markers as well. If it gave Excel circles, that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, no extra force markers, so he needs other ways to generate force markers, but those ways aren't exactly the easiest. He needs 3 force markers to do the combo. Here he's going to call a Force 1. Now, with Force 1, I kind of disagree, right? Force 2 is usually the way to go with Valkyrian, in my opinion, because you want to get the required force markers onto the Vanguard circle. So with Gleaming, it's actually just 3. It's better than the old Uranus and old Asteros and stuff like that, where you needed 5, right? So 3 is very easily achievable. Then you want to put a Force 2 marker behind your Vanguard on the Astral Plane. So your Valkyrian is swinging for 2 crits. You don't have to trigger as many stands to kill your opponent. And you don't have to trigger as many stands to kill your opponent. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So overall, let me turn off some notification. Yeah, okay. Overall, I think Force 2 is the better way to go, because here you're not going to deal any damage to the Vanguard. You're gonna your Amaruda is just going to take a regard. You're going to get triple drive, and that's about it. So this Force 1 is actually just doing nothing. Yeah. So the Force 2 is pretty much the same thing. The way you win with this deck is not Force 1 with Valkyrian swing X times, and then your Vanguard swing. That doesn't really happen. It's just Valkyrian swing. It's just Valkyrian swing. So also with the Mutsuki here is, I think it's kind of weird. I guess he wants it. He wants it for the Amber to draw. Okay, so that makes sense. One thing is that if his opponent goes like Ballerina, this can kind of intercept, which I guess is pretty good. Mutsuki? No, I want Mutsuki first. I'd Amaruda first into rear guard and then probably pass. And he'll probably just no guard the Greed Shade, which is correct. The one thing with Granblue, I think we did see some Cutlass in bin, so he probably should check if there is Cutlass there or not. Like multiple Cutlasses to get the counter charge. So there is, apart from Cutlass, there's actually not really any good ways for you to counter charge. Well, with the slots, with the cards you play in the premium build, there's not that many ways to counter charge. But we did see a Cutlass, yes, so we have to make sure, he just has to make sure that there is no more Cutlass in the bin. And then his next turn, his opponent will be limited in what he can do. Because although he doesn't have the combo now, we see him get his Valkyrian there, so it's quite possible that he can go off the next turn, just depending on what he gets. Now, this is the correct move. So Granblue sees that his opponent is playing the meme build. He has pretty much 0 defense. So let's just try and end him now, because he might not even have a next turn. He plays the Ballerina is free. It doesn't require any counter blast to use his effect, and it's a very aggressive push as well. So he will be able to basically just trigger 2 crits and try and win the game. And with Granblue, you do run like 12 crits, so that can easily happen. Now, I'm not sure maybe if it's the lack of triggers or vanillas in his hand. It's definitely not, because he did search them last turn. Probably want to put the Grenache here, right? Because the Grenache is just a 5k boost. I want to put a vanilla here just to make it so you hit better numbers. It becomes a 15k boost. It's harder for his opponent to guard. And then with this, yeah, because you have the Cyclone buffs. The Grenache doesn't do anything. If you want cards in hand to pop his guards, then that is fine. You know, the Grenache does the same thing, and it goes to bin, so that's good. The next turn, like, getting no counter blast next turn I think is fine, because this turn you will deplete your opponent so bad, it is pretty good. And here I'm gonna say he's gonna do a misplay, is he's guarding the Vanguard attack. So how do you have to think about it this way, how do you actually lose in this position? Is your opponent triggers like 2 crits, you go to 5, and then he puts all the power in his last regard circle, regard column, he swings in and you cannot guard it because he shoots all your guards. But if you're committing guard here to guard the Vanguard circle, the same thing can still kind of happen, right? You're going to commit guard here, and then it's not going to be really good guard at all. Okay, it's not going to be good guard at all. You're going to take damage, he's going to shoot out your big guards, and then your last column is going to be kind of big enough, and then he's going to shoot off the rest of the guard, because he's going to replenish his hand through drive checking. Okay, so when you're playing against Ballerina, you kind of want to see where you want to commit all your guard to, and kind of just show down your opponent and hope he hasn't got it. Okay, one thing to know, that the quick shield just powers up your Vanguard, so he can't do anything against that. The intercept, he also can't do anything against as well. And if there's a null guard, he can retire the null, but the null still gives the effect to the Vanguard, so it can't hit. But it looks like he doesn't have nulls, and he's not running them. Here, the Granblue player is just gonna keep on shooting his opponent until his opponent runs out of guards. That's basically it. And I think with the Genesis player, it's tough times. It's tough times. He lets the 5k through, but now he's gonna G-guard, and his opponent is just gonna kind of shoot the G-guard. Yeah. Right now he has 25. He's at 38. His opponent's hitting. Is it 20? Yeah, it's 25. Yeah, so he's at 38. Ballerina's swinging in for 28. So that's pretty much 1 at the moment. Yeah, so still 1 to guard at the moment. He decides not to continue guarding, so he's guarding for 1. He could, like, intercept, right? He could intercept here, and then it'd be a 43. It'd be a 43, that's 2 to pass. And then here we're just swinging for, like, to hit him to 5. So he G-guards here, but no, you don't want to G-guard here, because now his hand is replenished. His hand is replenished, and he's going to be able to just shoot your G-guards. Because unfortunately, Genesis doesn't really have any G-guards that increase power. So a G-guard that would be nice to have is something like a Gleam or Rectome that lets you draw. So maybe you can try and draw into a null, but I don't think he's running nulls. That's the problem. Other thing also is that if he just, like, I think the correct play there was he really needed to commit to guarding the Vanguard, but if he decides not to guard the Vanguard, he should just take it and commit all the guard on the last regard attack. And then from the damage that you take, you might be able to get some damage checks. If you get a heal, you're basically just safe. But I think here we can see that he's G-guarding a lot, so he might not have the heals. And from his drive checks, it doesn't look like he got any triggers at all. So that's pretty much unlucky. But overall, you won't know if you trigger or not. And I think, given the circumstances, the Granblue player played the correct stride, he played it correctly. I would like to have seen him commit more to the early game, just like pushing a bit more, because he definitely knows what his opponent has. And yeah, if he doesn't have the combo, and even if he does have the combo, you just push, and try and kill your opponent. That is the one thing with these combo decks. You've got the Pale Moon Loops, you've got the DI. DI is actually a bit more difficult to play against, but like Pale Moon Loop and all that, they actually don't really care that much about damage. So, or the biggest weakness is just getting rushed. And when you get those cyclones going and your field is starting to get big, you can technically just rush them out and watch them kind of brick. Pale Moon does actually require some counterblast, but you don't really have a way to counterplay that. You can't stall against Pale Moon, because if they draw too many cards, then they can guard everything you attack with on your big push turn, and then you're dead. So even if they do require counter, you still have to kill them. So pushing early is the best way to go if you're against these kind of matchups where they're just comboing. You don't want to give them any time to just sit there and set up. Push your triggers. You have cyclones that get bigger now. Make your triggers bigger. So don't be afraid to just commit. Because yes, when combo decks go off, no matter how much card you have in your hand, it usually just doesn't matter, right? So that's it. That's a quick game. Hopefully you've learned a bit of something from that, and we'll go through some more videos later. So catch you guys there, and bye.